Saints are going to host the Giants on Sunday for the first time this year. The New Orleans Saints are favored. Do you realize not only are the Saints favored for the first time this year, but New Orleans, through 4 games, has yet to lead in a game? 4 games, they've yet to have a lead. Not only have they not won, they have not led in a football game yet. So could be a lot of firsts this weekend for the New Orleans Saints if they're able not only to get a win, but to get a lead. But they'll have to do it against Jaxson Dart. And Dart's a guy that the Saints spent a ton of time vetting during the pre-draft process. As a matter of fact, Kellen Moore, when he met with reporters on Wednesday, talked about Dart during that draft process when you might remember the Saints brought him in for a top 30 visit, pro day, Senior Bowl, all the stuff. I mean, the Saints were sort of smitten with Dart. And this was Kellen Moore about that process.
Yeah, we had a chance to go over to his pro day. I thought he just did an excellent job. You know, he's an awesome kid. Have really enjoyed watching him through his journey from all the way back to Corner Canyon in Utah to USC to Ole Miss. He's had just an incredible career. He's an awesome kid. He works his tail off. He's a really smart football player. I think that was, you know, when we get to go through that process with players, you get to really dig into, you know, how much football do they know, how much can they process, and I was blown away with how much he knew. And so I thought he was really prepared for this league. Obviously, he's hopped on his first opportunity, got a win. He's going to be a really good quarterback in this league.
A couple of this leagues there by not quite our league.
In our league.
We got a couple of this leagues, though, from Kellen Moore. Also, something else we learned in that soundbite, Jaxson Dart has a tail. He works his tail off.
Boo. Come on. You can do better than that.
Can I?
Yes.
Can I really?
Yeah.
Guy said he works his tail off.
He did say that.
Why do people say that?
It's a nicer way to say works his, off.
His butt off.
His butt off, yeah.
His behind off.
Yeah.
How about he works?
Or the other word that means donkey.
How about he works really hard? He's great. Works
That's
really
too.
hard.
That works too.
I don't need to hear talk about a tail. So the Saints liked Jaxson Dart a lot. And there was a lot of talk about potentially drafting Dart 9th overall, which, of course, they didn't do. They took Kelvin Banks, went with the offensive lineman. But if you remember, there were reports that the Saints tried to trade back into round 1. They were trying to get back from 40 back into round 1 in the 20s to select Dart. But in the end, it was New York that moved back into round 1 and selected Jaxson Dart at 25 overall. Well, apparently, Jaxson Dart hasn't forgotten the fact that the Saints didn't take him 9th overall. And on Wednesday, when he was meeting with reporters, Jaxson Dart had this to say about the Saints not taking him in the top 10.
I think that there's always a chip on your shoulder anytime that something like that happens. But yeah, I'm just gonna go out there and play it to my as hard as I can.
When you were sitting there at draft night and they're on the clock, did you think you might get a call? Did you have any inkling one way or the other?
Yeah, I felt like my visit with them went good. So you kind of have thoughts in your head during the draft of what options are really realistic, and I definitely felt like that was a place that could have panned out. But things didn't work out that way.
It's pretty clear Jaxson Dart has a lot of oddities. He has a tail, and he has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, Muse, that's a little bit, you got to acknowledge. A tail and a chip.
Boo.
A tail? How many NFL quarterbacks have a tail?
I would say all of them. I hear that all of them work the tail off.
Nope. No, you don't. Jaxson Dart's got a tail, and he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Right there on the shoulder.
If you could have a chip on your shoulder, what kind of chip would you want it to be?
Potato chip for sure.
What kind? There's a lot of different kinds.
Oh, you're talking like flavor or brand?
You want a brand? You go in like sea salt?
Yeah, no, I'll give it
natural.
to you. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Cape Cod sea salt and vinegar. That's what I'm going with.
See, I can't go
Love
with
it.
vinegar.
Love it, man. It's favorite chip. My favorite chip.
Wow.
Yep.
Paulie, how do you feel about sea salt and vinegar? Like the vinegar and the chips?
I like them. They're not
Do
my
you the
favorite,
vinegar?
but I'll have some for sure.
Yeah, the vinegar thing throws me off a little bit. It's that sour, bitter taste. I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it.
Sea salt chips are good too, just the plain sea salt.
Yeah, that's all I need.
I like the vinegar.
That's all I need.
If you had a chip on your shoulder, what would it be?
Not a huge chip guy.
Oh, okay.
You know what I really like a lot? I like Doritos.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Nacho cheese, Cool Ranch. What are we talking about here?
Cooler Ranch.
Cooler Ranch.
Yep.
Okay.
Cooler Ranch.
Okay.
Yep. That's it. I don't really eat those anymore.
Yeah.
Former fat guy. All I eat is like natural, just potato, sea salt, oil. That's it.
You could make your own chips.
Hi, I'm Matt. It's nice to meet you.
I mean, I'm just
What's
saying
your
you
name?
could. I mean, you're not
Make
going
my
to. I'm
own
just saying you
chip. What are
could.
talking about make my own chip. So Jaxson Dart's got a chip on his shoulder because the Saints didn't take him 9th overall. Okay, well, then you've got to prove 24 teams wrong, Jackson, because 24 teams passed on you. Like, it's funny to me how these narratives start. And by the way, the Saints tried to trade back up to get him, but Houston, who was sitting there at 25, took the Giants deal. The Giants apparently offered just a better package to Houston at 25 than did New Orleans. But the Saints were making calls trying to get back in at the end of round 1 to select Jaxson Dart. They liked him a lot, which begs the question, like, did you whiff, if you're New Orleans, did you whiff twice? And not getting Patrick Mahomes back in 2017 when you allowed Kansas City to leapfrog you to get Patrick Mahomes, which obviously was terrible. And we'll see what happens with Jaxson Dart's career, but that's another guy that you had your sights set on, you were trying to take, and ultimately you weren't able to get. I do think this matchup will be fascinating to watch because respect to Jaxson Dart, he got a win in his first start, and they won it. Was it 21-18? Was it the final against 21-18 or 21-19? It was 21-18 against the Chargers. But that was a game where New York in the second half was not great offensively. They got the third quarter touchdown with the 2-point conversion, but they were shut out in the fourth quarter, and they only put up 21 points on the board. So as an offense, New York is scoring 18.3 points per game. Now, the Saints' defense stinks. Statistically, the Saints are allowing 30 points per game. Let me say that again. The Saints' defense is allowing 30 points per game, which is 30th in the NFL. There's only 2 teams worse than you right now. So the Saints are right middle of the pack in everything statistically in the bottom of the NFL in scoring, but the Giants' offense is the same. They're middle of the pack in everything. They're 17th in rush, 17th in pass, 20th in total, 27th in scoring. So you have these two units, the Giants' offense, the Saints' defense, that kind of mirror each other and where they rank statistically. So something's got to give here, and I'd hope that a little bit more veteran Saints defense against the Giants offense with a rookie quarterback making his first road start without Malik Nabers will sort of swing the pendulum toward New Orleans. Dart did also talk, by the way, about not having Malik Nabers and losing him for the season.
Yeah, well, you definitely can't, just replace a player like that. I mean, he's one of one, just his talent and his ability. But, we got a lot of good guys on our team, and it was definitely really hard. I think it's hard, just when you see somebody that you really respect, you have a really good friendship and all that, go down. And, during the game, it definitely, hit us emotionally just as a team. So, our prayers are with him, and, we're constantly just trying to look after him and during this time, but we got a lot of good guys and guys who are going to be willing to step up, and, they have to step up. So, yeah, just, going into this next game, just trying to get on the same page with everybody and being able to execute at the highest level.
One of those guys that are expected to step up will be former Tennessee Vol Jaylen Hyatt, who's there with the Giants as well, former third-round pick. He'll likely see an increased role there with Malik Nabers going down. So Saints and Giants, noon Sunday in the Dome. By the way, Brian Daboll did also have a thought on Jaxson Dart making his first road start in the Superdome, which, at one point there was the dome field advantage, which just isn't the case anymore for New Orleans. It just has not been a place that's been difficult for road teams to come in and win, but that's what Jaxson Dart is tasked with on Sunday.
Offensively, we're going to have to do a good job of communicating, from getting the play in to Jaxson communicating to whatever snap counts we choose to use relative to how the sounds are there, which is usually loud. You simulate it and try to do the best you can here at practice, but it's definitely one of the keys in terms of being able to communicate and operate and stay on track and eliminate some of the pre-snap things that when you play at a dome stadium, it's loud like this. So we'll work at it out here, blast it as loud as we can, and just make sure we're on point with our communication.
Last time the Saints won at home was last November at the home game against Cleveland. I remember they won back-to-back home games against Atlanta and Cleveland in November, and then they lost at home to the Rams, to Washington, to the Raiders, and then they lost weeks 1 and 2 at home this year. So the Saints have lost 5 straight in the Dome. It's been a hot minute since the Who Dat Nation's left the Dome with a win. See if they can get one on Sunday with the Saints welcoming in the Giants. And a quarterback with a tail and a chip on his shoulder. He works that tail off, though, Muse. So maybe by the time he gets here on Sunday, he won't have the tail anymore if he's worked it off. Is that fair?
That's fair, yeah. I mean,
Maybe he'll have worked it off. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.